G'day. Thanks for tuning in to The Galaxy is Watching, a Shatterpoint matchcast where gameplay meets galactic warfare. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn, guiding you through high-stakes online TTS matches, offering a tactical breakdown with topical discussions about Shatterpoint and a healthy blend of Bantha Poodoo. This morning, my special guest is Spitfire. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited. These are two phenomenal players, both of whom I've played with before, so I'm really excited to see this game.
Yeah, awesome. They're just setting up, so let's have a look at what they're doing. We've got PLC, Chewy, Pathfinders, Jin, Bodhi, and Base and Chirrut. What do we got on the other side? Mando, IG-88B, Wingard, Cad Bane, Boba Fett, and 7 Scorch is very interesting. Not having any Galactic Republic to get that Rule 17 off, and not having any payday to be able to pay for it. So interesting to see what the
Yeah, that is
players
a very
do.
interesting choice. I have a feeling that the rationale there is more just for good active turns that are relatively force neutral because of CAD, but I'm very interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So we've got Scramblor versus Nesquik today. Uh, yeah, so I think this is first American player edition.
Yeah, and honestly, two really good players to kind of showcase. Scrambler is from the North Carolina meta, which is newer, and they've gotten pretty competitive pretty quickly. They have a couple of really standout players. Scrambler Brandon is one of them. Another is Rudy, who recently won the Austin GT and he had a good showing in Nova as well. He was the guy who got the trophy for taking Scott down for the first time at a GT. So the North Carolina scene's really good, and then. Nesquik Nick is from Arizona, which is one of three of the biggest metas in the United States. It feels like they just about have a tournament every weekend. Like they have a very, very well organized, diverse meta with a lot of really, really solid players.
Yeah, cool. I think I was listening to a podcast with Rudy, Zion's Finest, maybe?
I think he was recently on Coordinated Fire,
Ah, okay.
but he may have been on multiple.
Yeah, I think he was on Zion's. Yeah, it was good to listen to. He would express interest to get on in the future, so yeah, we'll hear from him in short time.
Looks like odds. I would assume that that means that Scrambler won the roll here. Oh, maybe not. I guess we're deploying first on the other side.
What are your initial thoughts of the teams?
Um, Both of these players are kind of known for liking outside the box solutions, and these definitely qualify. I in theory like the Cad Bane Mando list a lot. The biggest problem is a lack of activation movement there is a little rough. But I have a feeling it's going to have a lot of hitting power. So if he can punch through pretty early, I think that he can kind of make up for that deficit. And then
Yep.
this Gen PLC list seems very mobile, kind of a little sticky, not the craziest thing in the world, but Base and Shrewd are tough to displace, and Steadfast Chewy can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, especially if Chewie can get down his tree. What is it? 5 damage, shove, expose, strain, disarm. That hurts.
Absolutely. And with his ability to add expertise on every roll, he just tends to have very solid defenses. And if you're having to get two shoves through on him and he's healing every time, I mean, he can just really lock a point down and keep it.
That is very true. So just looking at his card, he's got Bodyguard, which allied primary characters within 2 and allied secondary characters within 2 of this character have cover 1. He is an allied secondary, so he's able to use that on himself, and also intimidating presence while this unit is not wounded. Allied Rebel Alliance characters within 2 he's always within 2 of himself, adds an expertise to his roll. So he's basically getting 6 dice in defense with an extra expertise. So his expertise is kind of capped. He's not going to be blocking a lot. Maybe a block with a hit off, or a block with a crit off. And those heals matter
Yeah,
too. So
the heals definitely, I think, are the biggest part of that expertise because it really allows him. He has almost pseudo protection. As long as it doesn't one shot him, he's able to keep healing that damage off, which is very nice. The interesting breakpoint there, though, is this list has a lot of units that either have expertise that's almost good, like Baze and Chirrut have expertise that's like situationally very useful, but it's a little expensive. It's almost like clone expertise with an effect on it.
yeah,
And that extra expertise can really allow them to like kind of defend a little bit above their weight class. Additionally, with Pathfinders, the ability to reposition on 2 with Chewie around is very good. They are a repo, not a dash on 2 or on 3, right? Let me check that.
yeah, it's on 3. I
3. So
really
yeah, so it'll
enjoy
go from 3 to 2.
the Pathfinder's a really good unit. Can you answer a question for me? As an Australian asking an American, why do you guys call the Rebel Commandos Rangers?
That is not a American thing. That is from my understanding, that is a Utah thing.
Okay.
There's just a group of people who refer to them as Rebel Rangers. I have actually never ever heard them referred to that way, like in an in-person game.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it a lot. So I thought, just thought I'd ask the question. But yes, the
I think.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just saying the Pathfinders having immunity to pin, having scale. Also, they start with a hunker, so if someone can give them a dash, they get to advance. Yeah, not a bad unit at all. Their defense, they're likely to stay alive a bit longer than the commandos. They just don't quite do as much damage. So, horses for courses.
Well, their effect economy in their tree is a little bit lacking. They're the only unit. They're the only 4 in the game, and one of only 3 supports that only have 4 icons in their first 3 spaces on their tree. So, like even B1s who are considered to have like relatively bad attacks, which obviously the Pathfinders have slightly better expertise. B1s have access to like a buffing ecosystem. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but even B1s will deal 4 damage and a shove and an effect on 3 steps rather than just 3 damage and a shove.
Yeah, I think Phil's clones are another one that is very lacking in their first couple of steps.
Mm-hmm. It's
But
like we
that
deployed moving into first activation here. Django.
Django. What do you think of his not so fast being changed to the dash and 5 dice?
So I think that it is functionally slightly weaker. Um, it is fundamentally less backbreaking to play into because he was just such a negative play experience that he could truly just turn people off from the game. There are a lot of people who no longer play Shatterpoint because they got hit by a not so fast at the wrong time. And there was a decent amount of Wave 1 models that kind of maybe had a little bit of negatively tuned play experience stuff. Vader One's another really good example. So I think that for the game, it's a very positive change, and it's only a little bit of a downside for Django himself.
Yeah, I really like that the dash is any direction. Like, you might not be able to get the attack off, but if they pull someone out of reserve, all of a sudden you've dashed Django onto a point. Can be very handy.
Well,
Uh,
in a list like this that's really lacking in out of activation movement, it does help short up a little bit. It looks like we had an advance, focus jump, take cover, force put, or jetpack jump to get onto that front point.
yeah, interesting. Diving the back point like that is
Aggressive.
aggressive. Yeah, that's the right word for it. Because he is kind of tanky. What's his expertise? 2 for 1 to 2, 3 blocks for 3. That's not bad, but I don't see him living long there. We'll
No.
see
Can
how it
you
pans out.
check what stance that Nick has, or sorry, that Brandon has Jen in?
Resisting arrest.
Resisting arrest. Okay. That's really interesting. I'm always interested to see stance philosophy on Jen because I feel like she's a very stance dependent character. I usually run her in the other stance, aggressive assault, aggravated assault. When you're making your 5 dice ranged attack, you're almost guaranteed 2 crits, and that's 3 damage and an expose. And then you can either flip stances to be able to do better ranged attacks, or you're set up for a very good melee attack. So it's always interesting to see what people do. It's always interesting to see people's philosophy choices there.
Yeah, her defensive expertise is pretty much the same, I think, on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to play her in the other side as well. I'm a big fan of getting her to use her tactic on herself.
Absolutely.
Because her 5 dice, it's a good chance she can hit 3 crits off that 5 dice.
Yeah, I mean, if she rolls a natural crit, an expertise, and a hit, then you're at 3 crits, and that's a lot through.
Yeah.
I think there we had what appeared to be 4 hits and a crit into 3 blocks and an expertise, which would be 5 blocks with Django. So I think that was just a damage and a shove.
Yeah, like I said, pretty
And then we're
tanky.
probably going to see we're going to see a little I Rebel dash here.
See, if he hadn't have bombed that back point, it's very unlikely that Jin gets to use her tactic to attack in that first turn.
She did not here, actually. She was out. That was a full attack,
Ah, right.
I think.
Yeah, so her next activation is going to be a lot more brutal, I think. Let's see if he flips the card at the end of that turn. No.
Does not appear so.
Alright, so Jin shoves off, Django gets the back point back.
It's a little tough to have an activation of a primary that just takes 1 point that's, I mean, in a list without an infiltrate isn't technically supposed to be yours, but it feels like it should be. Like reclaiming a home point with one of your most impactful activations is always a little bit of a bummer.
It is. But, so the other thing that's really important with Jin is where on the board do you place her, because your opponent's going to get a lot of momentum throughout the game, and each time that happens,
Absolutely.
she's going to get to heal too. So
I'll be really interested to see if he's going to have difficulty playing around that Gen bubble with her, because she is central there, but she's central in a way that it's kind of difficult for him to place models within 2 of her, and they also affect points.
Yeah. Okay, so 7 Scorch. Yeah, very interesting that they're not going to get the chance to use Rule 17 because there's no Galactic Republic and no Payday. So they do get a bit of
little
movement
reserve there.
Oh, in reserve, yeah. IG.
On to IG 88.
Yeah, so you don't see him on the table enough. His ability to buff bounty hunter attacks is awesome. Okay, now
I agree.
sorry, but just a question. So his I engineer success, yet it eludes me. So he can amp up a bounty hunter attack. If they don't kill them, you lose momentum, right? If you have no
Right.
momentum, are you able to use that ability?
You are, because you don't spend a momentum as a prerequisite to use it. You lose the momentum if you do not succeed on the wound. So it's a lot like IG-11 in that if you have it, you will lose it, but if you don't have it at all, then you stay where you are. Now, granted, if you have, that probably means you have failed the wound twice, which is a little bit of a rough situation to be in. But yeah, definitely. The other thing too, and I'm sure a lot of viewers will know this, but for those who don't, if you don't have momentum, you cannot win a struggle. Because your struggle cube has to touch the momentum cube.
This is true, but I've been a part of games where the opponent has been quite happy to give the struggle away, but have infinite attacks that add 3 dice. So come the next struggle, they win it quite easily because all my stuff is dead. So it can be very lethal. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 bounty hunters. So we could see a lot of extra dice depending on how much he wants to use that ability.
Well, and additionally, too, these are some bounty hunters that really the mathematic breakpoints on a lot of these characters are very interesting, because Django with 3 extra dice is a lot more likely to get 4 down his tree, which is a ton of damage, and sometimes he's going to spike up to that 5th, and then that's putting out 10 damage. And then Mando, between the full attack and the clan of 2 attack, if he is in Bring You In Cold, every other attack mathematically should hit the 4 expertise breakpoint. So that means he's dealing 5 damage plus whatever he gets through on his tree, which might be a crit, maybe 2. He could deal 8 damage in an attack, relatively straightforward. And then he also has a clan of 2 attack to follow up with. So it means that even Mando has like some pretty aggressive play, which is not something you normally see from him.
It's absolutely not. He's only good to get 2 to 3 down his tree most of the time. So the ability to get that far down is pretty sweet, especially to hit that 4 expertise.
It looks like we have an IG-88 into Jin attack, and I think he rolled the extra. Yeah, he rolled the 3 extra.
So 4 crits. 4 crits on auto damage. Not gonna tickle.
Jin is not known for crit mitigation, so we'll see how this goes. Probably that 6 and a strain could be a really interesting break point, as long as he can flip. Where's the reposition on IG-88's tree?
At the end.
At the end.
So he didn't hit it. He only got the 4 down, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if he doesn't take this point,
she's going to heal considerably because they'll be back on 0.
Yeah, yep.
One shove.
Okay, and that
And the
strain.
follow up.
Yeah, she needs to heal that strain, otherwise she definitely won't be doing her tactic on herself.
It could be really interesting because it's functionally, if you dash her back onto this point and keep that point and both players go to 0, it is functionally the same as her only taking 1 damage because they gain the momentum and would heal 2 of the 3 that were added back.
Yeah.
So I think if I was presented with this situation, I would probably dash and go up to 8, down to 6.
Yeah.
But also an early wound on Jin can be very problematic. So I would understand the hesitancy there too.
Yeah, no, if you can,
See.
you should, I think, throw her back onto the point. Where's that damage coming from?
Oh, the expertise. They forgot to tabulate the expertise
so
damage.
now
Oh,
she
that changes
dies.
things a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you had a Cassian list, maybe you would do it to get rid of her strained and then trigger Cassian's revenge movement to get someone else onto the point, but there's no Cassian here today.
That's a pretty backbreaking situation for Jen, as long as Nick's able to continue to engineer situations where he's not gaining momentum.
So he's kind of relying on a layer activation to maybe wonder you're still alive, heal, Jin's strained. Because that's something that is pretty light in this list is heals. Not a whole lot. Chewie's getting a couple if he gets that far down his tree or in defense. Leia has a couple, but she probably wants to go bottom tree for the extra shoves. Jin obviously gets her heals when your opponent scores momentum. And the one thing Baze and Chirrut don't have is heals.
Looks like we pulled Bodhi here.
Interesting.
I think he's trying to measure to see how far he can get Pathfinders.
Yeah, so give them a dash, and because they start with the hunker, they can turn a dash into an advance with their innate ability. Or they could scale if there was a ladder, but no. Maybe get some there. I think probably just out.
I think that's definitely out.
So Bodie's doing his. Just need an
Just need an
open
open
line.
line. Ooh, and nothing.
Fortunate.
It is, but it's a free ability. Usually, it comes up in situations like this where he's on a point already. Like it's not. At least you're not spending resources to not gain momentum. But mathematically, it works out to where it's like almost never. There we're spending for the dash on the. Maybe we're not. Sorry, it's almost mathematically never worth spending the momentum to prevent your opponent from getting it because like they're relatively unlikely to get one to begin with, and they're very unlikely to get two.
My experience is that they're very likely to hit one, but you wouldn't spend one just so they don't get one. So yeah, you
Right.
just let them get the one. I'd love to see it spike and to hit all three. I've seen it hit two, but I haven't seen it hit three. But
I
it'd
think
be
it's like 55. I think the breakpoints are like 55, 15, 4. So like you're 55% likely to gain one. You are you're 15% likely to gain two, and then you're like 4% likely to gain all three. So like it does happen, and it could absolutely change the side of a struggle, but it's pretty unlikely. I'm
so
very interested in this this manipulation of momentum mechanic that we've been seeing a lot of out of Rebels here recently. It's kind of starting with Hera and now with Jen. It looks like he double dash Bodhi, and now is attacking Django?
nice.
Question mark.
So not much is probably going to happen here. Django's blocking three. Bodhi's got four, so one
4.
through.
Yeah, I mean he does have a shove on one and a pin on one.
That's true. So to go back to Jin's here, time to fight is now. When an allied Rebel Alliance unit would spend one or more force to use this ability, if you do not have enough readied force, it may instead spend one momentum. So if you have no momentum to spend, are you able to use that ability?
From my understanding, no, because unlike the IG triggers both 11 and 88, it is conditional on you spending the momentum. Whereas you don't spend a momentum with IG 11 and 88, you lose a momentum.
Yeah, very good. So interesting to note there. It can be good if you're got momentums to spend, or even if you just really need to have a decent activation, you sort of can cough up a momentum for it.
Well, it's really excellent in Struggle 2, because you usually, if you've won Struggle 1, which Rebels players tend to, their game plan usually tends to be win Struggle 1, lose Struggle 2, brawl in Struggle 3.
Yep.
Then you can prolong a Struggle 2 as long as you want and continue to just have good activations even on wounded and injured units. So it's a very good ability. I definitely was on the wrong side of history. I underrated it a little bit when I first read it, but I think that it's very excellent.
Yeah, it's very thematic. It suits her, I think, as do most
We got a
abilities.
Mando pull.
Yeah.
Mando here's a little rough.
I find Mando soft and wants to go in reserve.
Right. If I had a list with Mando in it, I would be very hard pressed want to want to put anything in reserve. Which I get the 7 Scorch activation was maybe a little subpar, so that is a tough decision. But when I'm building lists that include Mando, I want to make sure that I not putting myself in a situation like this where you have to go with Mando before he's gotten his revenge trigger, because I mean he's going to spend a force here and we're running pretty low on force, and he's just going to hunker onto a point, which granted it makes him pretty tough, but Base and Chirrut are over there and they can just come and take it from him.
Yeah, just body him out. which is probably what we'll see happen next. But actually, yeah, Pathfinders are on that side.
No, Pathfinders are on that side. That's right. But even still, that's an excellent use of Pathfinders to take a point from Mando without having to roll dice about it.
Yeah.
I'll take that activation any chance I get.
Yep. Agreed.
And it's just so. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh yeah, all they need to do is advance, and then they can defensive maneuver, which they can turn into a climb, and then they're sitting right next to him. Thanks for the point.
And it's so tragic because Mando's activations in this list are so impactful.
Yeah, the diceless displacement that Clan of Two brings is very good. All his units. So it's just 7 Scorch that he can't be near. Or Clan of Two, because each character in this unit may dash. Then, if all allied units within 2 are Bounty Hunter, Mandalorian, and Scoundrel, then you can do the rest. If you have a unit that is not one of those 3, you cannot use the ability. What do we got? Leia. Oh, I like to see Leia.
This could be a pretty impactful activation too, because she could potentially throw a little bit of damage onto IG. She throw a little bit of damage onto IG 88. She could also dash the Pathfinders here, turn that into an advance, and then if she wanted, she could then spin to climb or dash them a second time. And I think that's maybe what we're looking like for the play pattern here, because we're already measuring to IG.
So you'd be content to leave the strain on Jin, not look to heal that off?
I have a feeling that we're getting to the point where we're getting to the point where we're relatively likely to start seeing some wounds and some momentum on the other side of the table. So if they throw an attack onto Jin, she's probably dead anyway at 3 health. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a rough situation no matter what. So if I could take a point without having to roll dice about it, I probably would.
Okay, so there's no Cassian in this list, so Shatterpoint is up for grabs. My thought would be Jin's drawn already. If you can heal that strained off her, then you can Shatterpoint her to double attack, which could be into IG. Killing IG early is super good, though super hard. His defensive expertise. He's not sending crits down, which Jin likes, but he is pretty tanky. Getting that 1 wound on to make them pay extra for the extra dice and have to pay for his calculated plans. So when a character in this unit makes an attack as part of a combat action during the modified dice step, this unit may use this ability. Reroll up to 2 misses or expertise results in the roll. And I'm pretty sure you can't use calculated plans and I engineer success, so you either have the dice fixing or the extra dice.
Right, and unlike some other choices, it's not very flexible. So it is a little bit of a challenge to know, should you go for the extra dice, should you not? And I think into something that it's a relatively easy wound as long as you don't get really negatively affected by variance, then you'd probably go with the reroll, right? Like if you needed 2 or 3 damage through, then the reroll makes a lot of sense. But it's something where you really need to run the tree, then the dice is probably the way, because you're kind of hoping that variance will carry you a little bit rather than the other way around. I don't know. Zoom in on that shove.
Yeah,
This looks a little messy here, a little tough to navigate. Maybe, I guess, the edge of the base, there might be a little bit of a shove angle there. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I would say it's like it's not able to get out of that without touching it.
I think you're right. It also depends on where the angle is. So what did we get successes wise? That's 3 blocks, I think, with IG. And that should be 6 total results. So 4 through. So she's getting a reposition, which is nice. She is looks like he is climbing the Pathfinders.
Yep, so that would be Wendy is still alive. to give them a dash. She would have healed, which wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, so she gave the tactic to the Pathfinders who are able to advance, and then giving them a dash, able to climb, secures that side point, scores 3.
I definitely think if I was in Nick's shoes, I would be looking for maybe even a 7 Scorch pull just to put that wound onto Jen, because her activations get so expensive. Even if it winds up causing him a little bit of difficulty pulling the struggle, her going into struggle 2 with a wound on her, because of how her reacts are set up, she actually really doesn't benefit all that much from her own identity. So in a list that's relatively force efficient, she becomes a bit of a force sink.
Yeah, because she only really has the one ability she can spend on until she gets killed, and then when she gets killed, I Rebel and has a force cost, which is something that she wants to do every turn at least once.
And usually twice if you can get away with it.
Yeah, yep, agreed.
What did we pull?
I think we're still thinking.
I think we're still deciding. The thing too is that Nick's running a little low on force, so a wound here with anyone would probably be really vital.
Yeah, potentially a bounty hunter, then they could refresh too.
All of the hard-hitting bounty hunters at this point have gone, except for Cad,
Still got
and
Shatterpoint,
he
so 1 in 3
does have
chance.
Shatterpoint. Yeah, which I mean, even Cad isn't the worst pull in the world. He just might struggle a little bit to get in range of targets.
Okay, so let's talk about CAD. At no point has he used no one gets between me and my job to give CAD a jump. So unless CAD gets that jump, generally his first activation is not very good. Lacking the force to do it. Yeah, so if he can get a kill, then spend one of those forces to jump CAD, that would be great, in my opinion.
Absolutely, because he's kind of in this interesting situation where he really needs, I mean, one, he needs to regenerate force just to have force, right? Because the Shatterpoint activation is probably going to be somebody who wants one. Cad absolutely needs one. If he Shatterpoints Django or Mando, they would like one for sure, especially if you're spending for the extra dice from IG88. So he really does need to get a wound here to replenish some force. But he also probably needs to go ahead and immediately spend it so that Cad can have good activation.
Yeah.
Also, another really interesting thing here, the timing on this wound is going to be pretty critical, because if he doesn't attack Jen first, which I guess the odds of him wounding Bodhi are pretty low, but I guess they'd be non-existent if he doesn't spend for the bomb. But if you're in a situation like this where Jen is around and you're trying to go for 2 wounds, it's really critical to make sure you put the wound on Jen first. Otherwise, you're in for a lot harder of a time.
Yeah, I've seen that plenty of times. People
Oh, I
attacking.
think this is a 0 success 7 scorch roll. Ouch.
Oh, that hurts.
It's 4 into 4.
Yeah, similar to Mando, similar to Kanan. When they get their revenge, they get to heal. So she basically has the same type of thing. When they gain a momentum, she gets to heal. So yeah, revenge heals.
Very good.
Yeah. Crits. I see crits. Better roll this time.
So probably 3 through there, which I think works out to like 4 damage and a strain
Yeah, and a shove
or a
that's
couple of
not enough.
shoves.
Okay, so this was into Bodhi as well. So Jin's gonna stay alive for this turn.
This is a pretty pivotal turn for Nick, I think, because not getting the wound here and also not flipping a point is going to be very challenging. I guess he may spend the force to try and hope for the high roll on Bodhi, but needing 3 expertise on a 5 dice roll is very unlikely.
Mm,
I wouldn't run those odds, but also too, like, the struggle's kind of starting to turn away, and if Nick isn't careful, I think that Brandon could wind up with a pretty dominant board position here.
So secondary units are challenging the odds. Important to note.
Scoring 2. Good Bays and Chirrut pull here could be very very strong. Are those Wingard on that back point? They are not.
Oh.
Oh, that's very problematic.
He's got the force to get there too. Advanced defensive maneuver. Thank you very much.
He could probably advance dash. They'll be able to attack. That's potentially in the cards.
Yeah, yep. There's IG. So IG just needs 5, but then you run the risk. Well, if he gets a reposition, he can't hit that ladder because there's no room for him.
Probably a bigger issue might be him tying them up, but if as long as he does his advance first rather than the dash, which he is doing the dash first actually, then he should be okay. But we'll see. If he gets that reposition, then he could tie them up so that they can't dash onto that other point.
Maybe, yeah. Alright, Pathfinder's into IG. Yeah, just looking to really hurt the force economy here with the IG wound, I think. Oh, not bad.
3 and 2 crits into 3 blocks. 2 crits through. That's 3 damage. That's most of the way there.
Yep. The next attack might get it.
Well, and also too, pivotally getting the damage in here means that it's unlikely for him to both get the reposition and also block.
Yeah.
All the successes, because they throw a lot of hits. So him getting the 3 or 4 expertise,
Oof.
2 hits, 2 crits. Ouch, that's a dead IG.
Doesn't turn crits off. Yeah, and unlike the other IG, this one doesn't blow up, so less to worry about there. Boom. That's gonna hurt that wound. And he's gonna snag the back point, so very good activation from the Pathfinders, who don't get as much love as the Commandos, but I love them, so.
Oh, he might be tossing Mando down to keep that point.
So I've totally forgot about Mando. So Mando heals 2, nothing to heal. Will he... Where's Django? Yeah, no, he's not going to be able to clear any condition from Django. I really do like that part of his identity. So let's just have a look. When an enemy character wounds another allied unit, after the effect is resolved, one character in this unit may heal 2, then reposition. This is a bit I like. Then each other allied bounty hunter, Mandalorian, and scoundrel unit within 4 may remove a condition from itself and gain hunker. It's more the condition removal I really like, but the hunkers come in handy sometimes too.
This is an interesting play. I probably, if I was in this situation, one of the best ways to kind of negate Mando's reactive identity is for you to tie him on the point that he's standing on that he controls. I probably, given the fact that the Wingard usually prefer to punch anyway, I probably would have just advanced a Pathfinder onto that same point. So then Mando can't react around the board in quite the same way. But I guess it also too depends on when the Wingard come up. There's a lot of variables there. So it's also up to the conservative versus aggressive nature of the pilot. And Brandon is a really excellent player, but he is a little on the conservative side, which is good because it does mean that he's relatively unlikely to fall pretty deep into a bunch of the same pitfalls and traps that other players might. But My list philosophy tends to be a little aggressive, so I sometimes see different lines than he does, which can be beneficial and can also be detrimental.
I also like the aggro. So to get back to what I was saying earlier, CAD has activated. So he's advanced. He's going to have to spend that last force to jump just to do anything meaningful. Checking Eddie's range 4, bubble 4. No one gets between me and my job. Okay, so this is a good ability. After another allied unit makes a combat action, if this unit is not engaged, it may use this ability. So yeah, make sure he doesn't get engaged or you can't use it. Choose one of the targeted characters within 4. So I think that's also his range. So here we go. He kills Jin here, surely. If he is within 4 of the targeted character, he can spend a force to do 2 damage. If the targeted character isn't within 4, he can spend the force to instead jump. So once you get him into a good spot, just adding that 2 damage onto each attack can be super good, especially into Kanan, because Kanan can't react if someone is killed from CAD's 2 damage, because it's not an attack.
Looks like that's a wound on Jen.
Oh, 7 hits. Yeah, she's only blocking 5, so 2 through. Yep.
It's always deeply tragic when you roll an excellent defense roll and you breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief because you're like, oh, okay, my character has probably lived through this attack, and you look over to a a dice pool with very few fails in it.
Yeah.
Quite notably, there we got 2 force back.
Yeah, and a heal that doesn't matter.
However, this is still we're still only scoring 2 here.
Yeah, it's not looking good. So Leia can react. She can dash, but she's not going to get the opportunity to shoot Cat. So it's unlikely she does anything. She can drop hunkers though.
Yes. Which would be very good. However, I don't know. Oh, he's resolving his tactics dash here, trying to get closer to Bodhi to potentially spread the healing. A very important note here is that the timing window is hyper specific. It is when they gain the momentum, which is when the damage is applied. So it like would happen before revenge triggers. It would happen before on wound effects. So it can't really be used to it can't be really used to affect certain things, but it can also affect others. It just kind of depends on your timing windows. Now, a really interesting move there was he did not use his heal the first time the momentum was gained. He dashed over to Bodhi, and then when they each gained a momentum, he healed the strain and a damage off of Bodhi, which is really excellent.
Yeah, that's a good
Probably
catch.
from here on out, it's going to live on Brandon's side. The struggle cube is going to live on Brandon's side, which means that it's pretty likely that Nick is going to keep really racking up momentum, which means that Bodhi could be full health here in a couple of turns.
Yeah, so finally we see Baze and Chirrut. Did he refresh the force? Or is he still thinking?
I don't know if he has. He may have also just stated he refreshed it and immediately spent it.
Yeah, that's true. So killing Django would be pretty sweet here.
Killing 7 Scorch would also be very beneficial because their force economy doesn't really change, but if you can get them off the board in struggle 3, then just the scoring pressure of being down a 2 body support is it's pretty difficult to jump back from. So I would, again, I'm a pretty aggressive player, so it's a little difficult for me to compare what I would do versus what other people would do. Maybe people who play a bit more conservatively, but I would be gunning for a 7 Scorch wound, especially since they're not on a point, which means they've lost a lot of their defensive utility.
Yeah, so no steadfast or protection because they're not contesting.
It looks like we did a little flip here. Replenish. Replenish up, spin down. Did a flip and hitting the dash rather than the reposition.
So that's we've been in worse cages than this one. This unit's active stance is I'm on with the force. Each character in this unit may dash.
It looks like one of the two of them, I always struggle with knowing which one is 7, which one is Scorch, is engaged with Bodhi. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case, which means that if he shoots at the upper one, then it's very unlikely for him to get the climb.
So the upper
Just
one
because
is Scorch. I used to think that the red one was Scorch because it made sense in my head, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's a block. Oof. And that'll be 3 hits, 2 crits from Baze and Chirrut. So that's 4 down, which means they hit the expose, which is a really important break point. And they also, I would assume he's going to keep him up there, just so that way he can't climb and it becomes kind of a riskless attack. So if he applies that, oh, he is shoving. Interesting. He might apply. I mean, I guess if they're exposed anyway, then it doesn't matter what their expertise is, right?
Yeah.
But that's an interesting line there. This probably is going to equal a wound. I can't see a world in which he doesn't get 3 down the second time. One block. Yep, that's 3 through. That'll be a wound. Assuming he did the expose. Yes, he did.
So Mando is stuck on that point. If he goes anywhere, the Rebel Pathfinder will take the point. So he's not going anywhere.
Oh, that's a good shout. The parallax on that upper tower. I didn't realize that Pathfinder was on that point, but that is a really good placement there. That was an excellent move. I retract any prior criticism.
And plus, he's being up at elevation with the hunker.
Should have 2 now. I think that maybe Brandon missed his trigger on that, but he should have a second one from Leia.
That's true. No, they would have lost that when they activated, right?
The wound happened after their activation. The wound happened last turn.
Okay.
He's going max distance 2 here. See if he can clear a condition. I guess off of IG.
All right. So just consolidating that point.
And even though they are in their range stance and therefore have cover, they have steadfast from Bodhi because they are Rebel Alliance and contesting a point, which means that it's going to be very difficult to remove anyone off that point without a wound. And everybody on our left, Nick's right side of the board, has kind of already gone. So unless it's a Shatterpoint,
over.
Yeah.
That's it. Wingard, they're doing nothing. Shatterpoints. The
Django might.
Yeah, pull someone off. If he gets to the right spot, he could. Yeah.
What's the condition stacking on Django right now? He's got a pin. That's very tough.
2 force left though, so he can pay for a jump or he can focus.
But the problem he runs into is he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to like jump down, shoot, jump back up, jump down, shoot, pull, jump back up, because he's going to have to burn one of those for the. He's going to have to burn one of those to break the pin.
But he can jump back up on his tree.
Yeah, which it's risky, but this is probably the time for risky business.
Yeah, take
Can't
a bit of
afford to spend for
finesse.
IG dice. Yeah.
Considering it. So, also secondary unit to challenge in the odds. So, he might even
Which
be able
could
to.
help shift the math here considerably.
Yeah, it's a bit of playing around to get. I think. Well, they're both steadfast, right? So.
Django's second shove is pretty deep, if I remember correctly. 4 in, maybe?
Yeah.
First one is 4 in, second one is 5. That's pretty unlikely to happen.
So basically, I think he wants to pull Bays off the point and then kill Bodhi. So if he can jump over here, pull them maybe even down, kill Bodhi, and then hope to get the jump onto the point.
Yeah, it might be worth doing a same elevation pull there just to make sure you don't inadvertently engage yourself, because it's difficult to measure range 2 on yourself and range 2 to pull them.
Yeah.
And you don't get to check your angle until it's time. So if oh, he's gonna punch. Interesting.
Okay, do we see the extra dice spending for it? Yep.
Yes, we do. Which
Okay.
I guess if he gets a kill, he's replenishing 3 force here. That would then give him plenty of opportunity to do some shenanigans.
And he gets the heal. So
Hmm.
that will clear the pinned. Although his pin has gone away, so he spent an action for it.
That's interesting.
That is super interesting.
The expertise here is very unforgiving, though.
Oh, the good roll.
But thankfully, didn't roll any.
Mm.
That's
What's
going to be
that?
a wound.
Yeah,
That should be
4
7
down.
damage.
Gets him the jump too. See you, Bodhi. Can Leia respond? Leia can. Yes, Leia can maybe respond here because the
I
Pathfinder's.
think that if he's pretty conservative with his jump, though, if he jumps down behind that building, right, and goes away from her with it, he can
Yeah.
probably block line of sight.
But he needs to stay up there to get that point. He still needs to display space. So.
Yeah, so he could take the jump to go down. He could
Yep.
pull the capture wire to pull Baze over his head and then just spin to jump back up.
Yeah, that makes sense because the Leia won't be able to do anything because that building will block line of sight if he can get down here. What are you suggesting?
And that's exactly what we're seeing. Again, I can't overstate how good both of these players are. They're really both excellent. Nick won a GT here pretty recently. Smite Club, maybe. I don't know. They have so many GTs in the Southwest that it's kind of difficult to keep track. And I played him at Worlds, not in Worlds, but as a casual game in between. He's just really excellent player, really solid gameplay, like solid grasp of like good fundamentals. His positioning tends to be pretty technically good.
Yep.
So seeing lines like this where he can kind of deny that Leia trigger is kind of bread and butter for him.
Yeah, it'd be good to
And he
see.
also probably has enough of a force. He probably has enough force here if he wanted to. Wingard are going to have a bad turn no matter what. He could probably pay to challenge the odds here because he's going to have 3 force, 1 to challenge the odds, 1 to pull Baze and Drew, 1 to jump back up. That would leave it on his side, which does change the math of this struggle pretty considerably.
Will it be enough? Because that Wingard are coming up next to him and they are doing stuff all.
They're in for a rough turn unless they can somehow roll very well and sneak a wound in on the Pathfinders and then get
Unlikely with
back
him
up onto elevation.
sitting up there with the hunker.
Mm-hmm.
Can't engage them because they're blocking that platform. Okay, so I haven't seen him refresh the force. But he'll be getting there. 1 in the heal. So now he resolves CADs. CADs won't be able to heal anyone, but it'll give him 2 more force. His identity. Capture wire, 1 force, jump 1 force, challenging the odds 1 force. Yep. So refreshing 3, pretty likely to spend it all straight away. Leia's very likely to stay where she is because dashing and not attacking isn't going to do her any favors hopping off the points.
I think one big problem that Nick is going to run into is that um, Brandon still has a Shatterpoint left with an unwounded Baze and Chirrut who probably don't need to do anything to get into position, and he's also had a kind of overflowing with force. Oh, this is interesting.
Snag that point. Didn't see that coming.
It is a little harder for Chewie to then affect.
Yeah.
The Shatterpoint Baze and Chirrut doesn't really change much one way or another.
Spend for that, gives them a pin, spends again for the jump.
Notably did not spend for challenging the odds.
That is interesting, because the Wingard, even giving, if they use the Force to get the dash...
They won't get the focus.
Yeah, but
So
they're probably not attacking anyone anyway, really. Like, not having a decent attack, what are they going to do? Shoot into the Pathfinders so that they'll get a focus, but they're only rolling 5 in at range, which is pretty sad. They do have that lovely 2 hits off 1 expertise though, so depending on what happens with dice, yeah, I would have probably spent it to challenge the odds. Here we go, Shatterpoint. Jin. That's who I'd be thinking about too. So she is in resisting arrest, and if he uses his tactic to get her attack, you cannot flip the card until after you've resolved your tactic.
On the upside, he is pretty much drowning in force currently. Chewie's going to spend 1 at most. And there's no defensive spend on force in this list, so he can afford to rebel twice.
Yep.
That looks like a 3 crit hit. That's good. That's going to be very challenging for Django to come back from.
Yeah, so called it earlier. 5 dice, 3 crits. Not bad from Jin.
Well, this is even the stance where it shouldn't be too terribly likely. I mean, the numbers are a lot worse on this stance to see it. So that was a really good bit of positive variance for Brandon.
She's just got good expertise on both sides, to be honest. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
One's slightly better, but they're both good.
I think that it's really interesting because the first inclination is to like kind of view them as a melee stance and a range stance.
Yep.
And I think that whether it's a melee stance or a range stance kind of flip flops back and forth a little bit depending on whether you're making your 5 dice or your 7. If you're making your 5 dice attack, then the melee stance is very good to shoot in, and vice versa. If you're making a ranged 5 dicer, then you want to, or if you're making a melee 5 dicer, you want to be in the quote unquote range stance.
Yep.
Just because the expertise is so beneficial for small dice pool attacks.
I just leave her in aggressive assault and just...
I do as well.
Just go for the damage output. Yes, you're getting less access to shoves, but shoves don't matter if the person you're attacking is dead. So.
Especially in a matchup like this, where like, what's Mando going to do? You know, like he can't leave his point.
Yeah. Good time to start laying some wounds.
3 and 3. That's going to be That's going to be 3 down, which should be a wound here on Django.
5 damage disarm. Or yeah, no, you could go
Any
4
path
damage.
wounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expose and pin
Looks
would be
like we did
nice.
5
Yeah,
Yeah. 4 pin. Yep. 4 exposed pin.
so
Very good into that Beskar.
this is going to be struggle.
Yeah, I'm very interested to ask Nick after the game his rationale on not challenging the odds there.
It might have just slipped his mind because he was under the pump with the board state for sure.
I definitely can. I can definitely relate. There was one time I was playing with Rudy, top table at a tournament, and this kind of just speaks to how gracious he is as a pilot, but or as a player. But I got a wound with some weak way pirates last turn of the game, and all I needed to do was say I challenge the odds to win, and like I missed my trigger entirely. He was like, "Hey man, this is a loss for me. Like all you have to do is spend the force," and it it just kind of speaks to his sportsmanship that he would do that. But it's very easy to forget. It's very easy to forget odds. You know, it plays fundamentally different than any other's mission pack.
It does. It definitely does. It's definitely a very nice thing to do to help your opponent remember your triggers, especially at a
Absolutely,
competitive scene. I'm a little bit more likely to keep my mouth shut playing
absolutely.
competitively, but yeah, it's great for the game. If one person does it, then the other person's more likely to do it back, and then you can have a real open game.
Yes, absolutely. And then it becomes wargaming at its finest, which is a collaborative exercise.
Yeah. All right. So supporting units
This is
challenging the odds. Interesting.
a little bit of a tough flip for Nick, which is always sad after a bad first struggle.
Mm.
This could wind up over pretty quickly.
Yeah. So the Wingard, they are doing not a whole lot. At least they have the force to dash and maybe climb, get up there.
Mando is on that point, which is good.
Ah, he is. Good point.
Um, However, I guess maybe the one saving grace is Chewie is next, and Chewie is not going to really be able to affect multiple point or affect
A point,
practically
really.
any
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So bad activation into bad activation will be beneficial. It's good to see Wingard on the table. I think that the Shatterpoint community is maybe a little bit bad about judging the relative strength of 3 cost supports because for so long the 2 3 point supports that you saw were just incredibly overtuned, right? Magna Guard were excellent for 3 for a very long time. I mean, it honestly took like the death of their faction around them in competitive play for them to stop being seen, right? And then
Mm.
ARFs before the errata were just incredibly, incredibly good. And so everyone compares everything to them. Like people tend to be really down on ISB, and I think ISB are
Uh,
excellent, especially
not
in like a
me.
Vader 1 package.
I love
You don't think?
ISB.
Okay.
I'm a big PLC player, and
Hmm.
they fit with her so often. I really they have a good tree. They have a good force economy. Once you get them into the action, you can just focus attack, get 8 dice in melee. Their defensive expertise is good. Their attacking expertise is good. They both aren't great, but they're both good. They're just a solid piece for 3 squad points. And I also love
And
running Mother with ISB and the Super Commandos. So I've got that, yeah, for manipulating
that sneaky
hand.
little 4 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're definitely underutilized. I also think that PLC is an empire in an empire shell or as an empire primary, however you want to look at it. I definitely think that she's a little underexplored in that space because she does bring a revenge trigger with the faction is sorely lacking. She has basically nothing that functionally matters nothing that's like Rebel Alliance tagged as long as you have some spies around, which, I mean, Callus is a good pull there. ISB are a good pull there. I mean, you have some choices. And I mean, PLC, Vader 3, ISB. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a very solid, pretty force neutral module, you know?
it's a great shout. Yeah, that's what I run. PLC, Vader 3, ISB, Mother, Savage, and the Super Commando. So your two secondaries, 10 health, steadfast protection, basically. Vader's 9,
Hmm.
but yeah, very hard to deal with. And then if you do deal with them, you've got Mother and Leia to deal with back. So
We'll probably see a wounding play here from Chewie, maybe in on the wing guard.
Wingard full health, 8. Where are they? They are contesting, so they're now steadfast. They're going to get probably 2 extra dice from the hunker and elevation. Gives Leia a hunker from his tactic.
Which is very nice.
He's got the force for it's not wise to upset a Wookiee.
The question is, will he be able to get into range? But I mean, depending on how his tree goes, if he's able to follow up that shove, that could be a little bit of a non-permissive a non-permissive angle for following the shove up. So I guess he's just probably going to go for a bit of a pot shot there, and then just have Chewie positioned where maybe he can add a little bit of expertise and cover to Baze and Chirrut.
That's true.
This attack's either going to go very well for Chewie or very poorly, probably based on expertise. If he can get it like a natural crit, and I mean, that's 2 crits down.
That's true. Probably give him the expose, I guess. 2 damage exposed. No shove because it's steadfast. He can follow up to push himself into the wall a little bit. Help that range 2 bubble.
Oh, that's a maybe. A little bit of free damage on Mando is always nice, especially when you're not spending the force on anything else.
Yeah, I missed whether that was going to be in range or not.
I think it's going to be, it kind of depends on how this base clips here. It's very tight.
Oh, unlucky. That's force going down the drain, unfortunately. 7 Scorch. Yeah, they're dead, so...
The Jangler's way out in the middle of nowhere. Yep, that's sad.
Yeah.
I think a little bit more time to kind of micro out Chewie's movement there could have been really beneficial, but I also understand kind of getting tunnel visioned in on getting him where you want him.
Yeah, moving towards Leia to give her the hunker probably cost him that ability, not being able to get in range. If he had have gone like beelined it straight for those guys.
And honestly, Leia's out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and she's kind of not going to matter.
Yeah, the hunker's nice, helps her durability, but she can take a punch normally.
Also, another thing too, yeah, I was about to say, Chewie kind of shoving himself there, hunting for that damage on Mando might have been the difference in whether or not he was able to get the extra expertise to Baze and Chirrut, which would put them at cover 2, turning crits down. And then that kind of gives them 1 for 1, 2 for 2 expertise, which would be very good. But sometimes you just gotta send it on trying to get value out of your abilities.
Yeah.
Is that a Wingard pull? Interesting.
Wingard again. The only thing I don't like about the Wingard is shove on 3. I think if they were like the ISB and got a shove on their
2.
offensive expertise at least, that would be,
Yeah.
Make it a bit more interesting.
Well, I mean, I think shove on offensive expertise is truly excellent, but even if they just had a shove on 2,
Yeah.
I have found the quality of a model has a pretty direct correlation to whether or not it has a shove on 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah, where that shove is definitely does matter because that's your basic activation, right? Move, attack, hopefully shove
Take cover.
something off a point and getting onto the point yourself.
Yeah, we have a little move dash take cover there, which is interesting.
Oh, that was their turn. Yeah, not. Well, Jin.
That's going to be very problematic because I think she might be in range there.
It's gonna be close.
May not have line of sight.
She does not. Not on the Wingard anyway. No one else. Yeah, no other valid targets. So she's going to get
We're going
basically
to do
sure
it.
to attack. She has
Which, if they get a shove here and can follow it up, then we'll be able to take that point pretty easily.
And then she will get her attack as well. So yeah.
4 hits and a crit.
So
That's going to be pretty backbreaking there because that'll be the expose.
3 through, is it? Yeah. 3 damage exposed, then Jin comes in and what would have to do? 5 damage. She does that on 3. She's very likely getting 3 crits as we've discussed. So yeah, good chance they die here. So yeah, so go back to Jin's tactic. She can choose this unit or a rebel, allied rebel alliance supporting unit. One character in the chosen unit may dash or make an attack. So she got Chirrut to attack.
He's just checking to make sure that he doesn't lock himself out of being able to be on that point with his follow-up, which is very prudent. I don't know if a follow-up actually gets them. I guess he chose not to take it. Interesting.
Doesn't matter. She's going to kill him here, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter a ton.
So 4 damage in there.
She gets him on 2 steps, I think, right? Because she has a disarm on step 2. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. 3 through.
Yeah, so guess how many crits Jin just got?
She got 3, like
3
she always
crits?
gets. Her government issued 3 crits.
Yeah, she loves it.
The Rogue One box, all the Rogue One boxes, their primary is very renowned for getting their 3 crits.
Yeah, that is a good point. And then she can spend to I Rebel.
We don't have to, right? Did she get the dash? She got 4 through, right?
Yeah, she could have got the dash if she wanted it.
Yep, looks like he did, which is probably I would probably do that because yeah, it's nice to put a little more conditions on the wing guard. Oh, we have a Mando trigger here.
What does that mean for the board state? Can he get there? I'm gonna say no.
I think no. It's also a risky play to begin with because then that leaves that point pretty well unoccupied.
But can he hop up and down and be within range 4 of the Wingard to clear one of those conditions?
But there's a wing guard right next to him, so he should clear 2 conditions off of them as he starts. This is beginning to get a little out of hand for Nick, I think. Even if he pulls struggle 2, which I'm beginning to wonder how that's going to go, he's going to have a very difficult time in struggle 3 because he's yet to put a wound on either of Brandon's supports.
Yeah, so the Pathfinders probably aren't going to have a great activation when they go Leia. She's going to have to do a fair bit of running to get into the fight.
Well, that activation just got a whole lot better with Mando stepping off that point.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
I think he missed the 2 heals. Mando didn't have any damage on him, did he?
No, he did. He gave the 2 heals to the Wingard. Got rid of their conditions.
They had 2 conditions, right?
They had 3.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
It might have been worth trying to finagle some angles because they only took one off of Django, right? Oh, I guess he
Yeah.
took two. He took two because he took the pin off. Maybe clearing that disarm off of 7 Scorch would have been pretty beneficial as well, but
Yeah, there was a lot of options on what he did there. 7 Scorch, speak of the devil. Priority. This back one that he's got pretty much. Well, Bodhi's dead. Basin turrets.
yeah, I mean they just have to climb up there to take it.
Probably not
And
within
then
2 of Chewie.
is Mando not on it? Maybe he's not. I think he is.
Yeah, Mando's on the point, but just for the extra
Mm-hmm.
Chewie expertise and cover.
Yeah, a wound here on Baze and Chirrut would be pretty good. He may try and go for the 4 just to hopefully turn the tide of the struggle a bit. I think displacing Jin off of that point could prove really challenging.
Yes, Herg always getting to dash basically off her expertise.
Well, and the lines are very non-permissive there because of where the board edge is. So he's gonna have to like kind of get around her and then shove her the other way.
Yeah, what do we got
One
cooking
back.
here?
Okay, that's the dash to hop up there. Which probably means he's not going for a play on Jin's point. Maybe he is. I probably would have done that the opposite way if I was, just because it maximizes your movement.
You know, engagement with Chewie. Yeah, looking to kill Chirrut here by the looks of it. The tactic and move action by the looks of it. Nine damage is a big ask though.
Especially with one of them being in melee. 7 Scorch are not phenomenal in melee, which I guess it is one less dice that Baze and Chirrut have, but when you have better expertise and one more dice on one side, it's probably worth. I feel like an offensive dice is worth more than a defensive dice
Yeah, I don't want to
in this scenario.
punch with those guys unless I've got Vader 1 hanging around. Not bad though if you do, because they've got the double heal on the last step of their tree.
And they're pretty likely to hit it too.
Mm.
Total of 2, so that'll be 3 through. Probably goes the strain route for the damage. Maybe goes the double shove, but that does stop the second attack.
You give them the strained, and then if you have a bad roll the next time, you drop the bomb, which also gives the strained, which becomes an extra damage.
Well, and in this list, it's probably okay to do so. Because you, if you're pretty likely to get it back, he did go the bottom route.
He did.
A very score-focused play.
Well, he does have revenge to think about, so I suppose that's what he's considering.
Yes, but they're both on points. Protection, steadfast, and crit mitigation takes a decent amount of the teeth out of Leia.
Yeah, true.
But he does start playing for struggle 3 here. Four and a crit down, so that's just going to be the 2 through from the expertise.
4 damage.
Probably now 3 in the strain.
Yeah. 4 damage takes them to 7. So then you could do the bomb. Let's just have a look at that on the card. Choose enemy unit within 3. Yeah, so the other Scorch will be within 3.
Needs 2 expertise here, which is a little challenging.
Not bad odds off 5 dice. Not.
Yes, but it's half of his remaining force.
That is true.
It looks like He's not going to, so he'll score 3. Chewy.
Chewbacca. Can just climb on up. 2 bodies to deal with though. Oh, sorry, no.
No,
Wingard
just
are
one.
dead.
Wingarder.
Can't see their token, but yeah.
Chewing through 7 Scorch might be a little bit of a challenge, but it also just kind of depends on how he rolls here.
Yeah. Well, if he can get in melee, he could probably get a decent way down his tree, and then he can do his own little bomb.
And his odds are significantly better.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a non-takeable point. At least with Mr. Baca. I wouldn't be surprised to see a reserve here.
Yep. Layer. Okay, so the Pathfinders still have a hunker, so
Hunker,
dash.
good double advance.
Yeah.
Double advance them, get them onto 7 Scorch's point. Maybe do a little bit of an attack over that way. That could be a very solid line there.
Yeah, let's face it, you're not going to want to use her tactic on base and Chirrut being pinned and strained. She can. It's not limited to supports though. But yes, getting the double advance is very strong.
Needs to be cautious of his order of operations here, because if he loses the hunker, then the other one only gets a dash.
That's a good call.
Which means the one next to Leia probably needs to advance first, which I think is where Brandon's head is at. Let's see if he plays for that point. Yes, he does. Excellent. A little bit for struggle 3.
Now
Actually,
loses the hunker.
from the wounding perspective, I feel like Brandon's pretty significantly in the driver's seat here. So the longer he can stay in struggle 2, I think the more beneficial it is for him. Bring the focus. Unless, I wonder, is that Pathfinder might already be on that point.
Is it under the wing? Yeah, it's under the
It's under the wing guard. Yeah, I think he's on that point.
I would agree.
So he could do the focus dash, shoot 7 Scorch, follow up a shove, which he's likely to get at least 1, and then worst case scenario, spin the force to dash and hit that ladder and then take that point.
Yes, what side is Leia in? Yeah, Covert Rebel. I do.
I mean, she gets the repo on 3.
Yeah. She lives in that side for me, Covert Rebel.
I am a certified Princess Leia charming to the last hater, so I don't have hard stances about her stances. But
what's not to like? So much movement.
She has a lot of movement. I feel like I'm a very revenge-focused player, as somebody who plays a lot of Rebels, a lot of Cassian, and I have found that her revenge trigger tends to be a little bit less beneficial than others. I mean, I think I even like Han's more, and Han has much better active turns than she does.
Yeah. I see your arguments. I wouldn't agree that Han's revenge is better because he can very rarely get it off.
Oh, I'm not speaking about the revenge attack. I'm speaking about optimism.
Yeah, that's a great ability. That's caught me out a couple of times. Thank you, Luke Thompson.
My first and only second day game at Worlds was into Matt Bronson, because I had just barely managed to squeak into heat or squeak into top cut, and he was top seed in the heat that I was in, and so he was playing Kane and Han, which is a list that I played a lot, and I nearly brought to Worlds, but I kind of listened to the zeitgeist at the time, which was that Han is bad. I think, as a community, kind of since stepped away from that. We realized that General Solo is quite good. And I wish I had brought it first and foremost, but second, there was a point in time where he nearly, if I had not been so well versed in Han, he would have won the struggle on my turn because I had Vader. I had Vader too, who really all he could do was get a wound, and I had to pretty much sacrifice the struggle just to not lose it on my own turn, which was sad. But sometimes you have to lose the battle to attempt to win the war, which I did not. But General Solo, really amazing piece. Optimism allows for some incredible plays. It can be just so backbreaking to lose a struggle on your own turn.
Yeah, yeah. Luke Thompson's got me twice with that. You'd think I would have learnt the first time, but yeah, it really
Seven sports
hurts.
are still on.
Was Matt running Callus with?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
Because it's so Han allows for such force efficient turns, especially if he's your Shatterpoint target.
yeah. He has a very good active turn.
Especially now that Cassian is out, I think that General Solo is one of the best Cassian pairings. I still think I kind of give the edge to Kanan, mostly due to force push, if I'm being completely honest. But it's a very close race. General Solo is just a really excellent piece in the current meta.
Yeah, yeah. Very good indeed. If you have General Solo at home, I would suggest you get him on the table just to understand how he plays, if nothing else, for when you come up against him.
I would say that he is possessing of one of the last few true gotchas in Shatterpoint,
Mm,
and if you're not prepared for it, it is truly backbreaking.
agreed. All right, so what's happening here?
Shatterpoint pull. The prio is Mando's point, so that means that Nick has plenty of choices. Oh, we're waking Django up.
Mm,
Um, Probably, I would assume a focus shot into Baze and Chirrut, and then a capture wire pull of Jin.
he's not going to get line of sight from the focus.
He may have a different plan altogether.
Oh, geez, I don't know. Maybe there's line
Well,
of
and
sight
this is
there.
this a little. I think he does. I think the far lateral edge of both bases gets it. Um, However, this is a pretty avoidable situation. Could have just gone up to the top of the tower, which leads me to believe that he has a different plan entirely.
Let's see.
Yep, just going for the pull. Going for the attack first. 10 dicer. Oh, risky play, risky play. But if it pays off, that's excellent.
Boom. Not a bad
That's
roll.
going to get her.
4 crits. No, 5 crits.
5 crits. That's
She
10
does not.
damage.
Yeah, she doesn't turn crits down. Thanks for coming, Jin. She will get to heal, but a little late.
And the 3 force replenishment here is pretty excellent. And he can probably follow up shove. So if he really wanted to do the free capture wire on a Baze and Chirrut for a point of ping damage, that could be excellent too.
Yeah, because they're already pinned, and the
Just pull
capture
them
wire.
towards that comms tower, depending on the angle. Which and he can kind of engineer whatever angle he'd like because he's going to have the free jump from the end of the tree.
Just pull them into here. Do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So order of operations resolves his tree. Then Cad will get to heal. Nothing to heal. Then Leia, where's Leia? She gets to dash.
he might be going for the shove jump play to backstop himself on Jin.
Yeah, to save from the attack.
That's going to be almost an impossible. That's going to be an almost impossible shove unless he gets enough to follow up. Because 3 successes through, and he'll still do the reposition and be able to just stand on the point to keep it.
3 through is a bit of an ask, though.
It is a bit of an ask.
You can generally rely on 1 to 2, but anything else is just gravy, really.
It's not just a bit of an ask, it's a lot of an ask.
Yeah. She very rarely hits that 3 or 5 dice.
Very aggressive play here because had he lost the momentum and not flipped that point, that could have been because he now no longer has enough force to be able to both capture wire and to jump if he needed to.
Yep.
Which it worked out, and I'm not going to disparage it. I don't know what the data shows. I can find out. Give me a moment.
What are you using to check the data?
I'm using the 5th Trooper calculator. What she was in, both of her stances are the same.
She's
That
not going to
doesn't
get
matter.
to attack anyway.
Out of range. Yep.
So 5th Trooper is Matt Bronson?
Yes, correct.
Yes, he also had,
Bronson.
Sorry,
Sorry, go on.
No,
He's a really excellent player. He does a lot of work for the community. His articles are an excellent, well thought out read. If anyone's very interested in understanding like the fundamentals of Shatterpoint, I would really give the 5th Trooper a look. But he also has a dice simulator that is pretty comprehensive, honestly, and it really lets you kind of understand the probabilities of things. I think one thing that kind of routinely separates a really excellent Shatterpoint player from one who understands the rules but is not yet broken into that really competitive space is a true understanding of probability. If you expect to go 4 or 5 down your tree every time, you're probably not getting there.
Yeah. So math isn't a huge strength for me. I get the general probability. I don't get as far down to it as you guys, but I being the rebel player I am, I leave a lot to hope. Makes
Well,
for a more interesting
rebellions
game.
are built on hope.
Yeah, that's right. But yes, knowing that Matt has that dice calculator, and his thoughts around that, Callus is definitely someone he's going to want to bring to help
It is
jazz
a
up that math.
45%. It is a 45% chance to get 5 through there.
Oof.
So close enough to maybe not necessarily appear like bad odds, but it also, I guess, it's shove on 4, shove on 5. That's what we said on Django. Yeah,
Yep.
so he really needs all of it through. I don't know. That I guess he could have pulled and then spent for the jump. I just got a message from Brandon that Nick is taking a restroom break, so there will be just a moment here.
Too easy.
Oh,
We're about to hit mission
they
critical 2.
and I think they're waiting on a declaration from us. How close are we?
For mission critical?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's about the hour and a half now because we pretty much started on time.
I'll let them know. See. You have 5 dice handy? Because it does matter here who goes into mission critical first.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't have a clock running.
I got 4 minutes, so that would put them at mission critical starting basically right now.
Cool. Yep, happy with that. Alright, Pathfinder is bodying this.
I'm going to pop down there and let them know just to make sure that there's no confusion.
Yep. Alright, Pathfinder's into Scorch, who do have Steadfast and Protection because they are contesting an active objective. Unfortunately, they are exposed, so they're not going to get that lovely expertise that they have. Oh, they didn't need it. 3 natural blocks, no expertise.
1 through. That's a damage.
Yeah. Good roll from a exposed 7 Scorch.
That probably does mean that the Pathfinders are not... Are they both on, though? Yeah, they are both on. Interesting.
Now they're going to attack Mando. Oh, yeah. Not something I
That'll
would
go
like
well.
to do. Yeah.
I
Ooh.
predict blocks all. Oh, maybe not.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
wow.
blocks all.
No, that'll be 1 through.
Oh, yes, the crits. Which will only be 2 damage?
2 damage. Somewhat meaningless.
Yeah.
The mission critical momentum. I think another for not crossing back over.
Interesting.
Well, this is Nick's struggle. Ooh, maybe not.
Mando.
Mando will make that happen.
If he gets off the point without clearing a body, he loses the objective he's on.
Yeah, but clearing a body here is pretty straightforward. All he has to do is clan of 2 out of 2 of 7 Scorch. And then do a push, and then go hang out with Leia.
Yeah, so as we were saying earlier, he cannot use Clan of 2 while 7 Scorch are within range 2 of him because they are not Bounty Hunter, Mandalorian, or Scoundrel. Which makes it difficult.
I think there is an angle to be found, however. But a bring you in warm attack here could... well, I guess they are steadfast, so that'll be a little challenging.
Well, don't forget about Fearless and Inventive.
Yeah, extra dice is good, and he
And he can
probably...
spend
Oh, he's reserved here. He is reserved, so we are actually on IG 88, which is a really good pull here. Looks like he's not taking the ingress. Or maybe he's taking it on the other side of Leia. Or on the other side of the Wingard to avoid engaging Leia. Oh, we're in mission critical. All he has to do is pass a turn here. So he would be, as long as he doesn't do something to lose a point. So he may just go for an attrition play. Shooting Bays and Chirrut.
Yeah.
Also, a good reposition here off of IG could be pretty excellent. Got to toss him on that far lateral point since it's unlikely that he's going to go a second time, and that will put him holding both lateral points, especially the first player's right point. So that's very important for going into struggle 3. An eye engineer's success could be bad here.
Oh, good roll. Re-roll those 2 misses.
He used eye engineer success, so he
yes. Well, it's still a good roll. 2 expertise
it
gives
is
him
a crit. So he's sitting on 8. They're blocking 4. That's 4 down. Should get the wound. Does not get the reposition, but that's okay.
What condition? He gives him the expose. So I would think that the tactic is going to chew up one of those conditions instead of refreshing a second force. So at the start of their activation, they can refresh 1 force. Then for each wounded and injured token, this unit may refresh a force. The important bit is or this unit may remove damage or 1 condition. So yeah, you definitely refresh 1 force, and after they've been wounded, you can refresh another one or remove a condition. So Leia reacts.
Interestingly enough, here he could also just go up that gantry or go up that ladder if he wanted to. If he was really interested in making sure he got his range attack, but she's no slouch in melee, because even though the movement has to be towards, that just applies for what happens before the ingress point. So he'd then be able to hop up.
Yeah, so you're saying if he just hopped up and down, basically, then he could just take
Or
egress.
yeah. But she's no slouch in melee. It does put her on that central point. 4 hits. He's got 4 blocks though, so that'll be nothing.
But does get her on that point if it becomes active.
Taking a dash there to try and get towards that lateral point. Which is very important.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I was just going to run to the toilet. You want to take the wheel? I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I can.
Go.
It's really important there to try and diversify onto points here when you're going into the final struggle after having lost the first one, because that forces hard decisions on your opponent. Because as it's here, a lot of these choices are suboptimal. I guess he's off there. It's going to be a Leia's point, and then I guess no others. But if he'd managed to make it onto that point, it would have been really challenging for him to have a good choice here. Doing some deliberating, and yes. Looks like Chewie is on that central point, so probably not pulling Chewie. A Pathfinder pull. Pathfinder's already gone. A Shatterpoint maybe. Let's see, I must admit I have a little bit lost the order deck runs here in the second run of the deck, so I'm not entirely certain what we still have yet to go. Looks like we are going with Chewie. Might be dashing towards Leia, and then attempting to follow shoves up on IG to get onto that far point. we're doing a not so fast here, so Django's dashing. We'll see if it's enough to get him onto that point. It looks like it should be. Can you zoom in on that? I don't think not so fast is a jump. I think it's a dash, right? Could you check that?
Not so fast. He's a dash. There is an ingress there, though.
Oh, there's one on the bottom. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. I didn't see it from this angle. That makes sense.
Cool.
No shot in on Chewie, but that does get him that point, albeit kind of expensively, which may change his game plan. He may put Chewie. He may go after that other point. Does not appear to be so. Looks like we're still committing to our plan of going after IG-88 here.
Yep. As I mentioned earlier, Django's not so fast ability, so having someone in reserve and pulling them out gave Django the ability to dash, which got him on a point. So even though the ability has been changed, it's not as oppressive as it was. It's still a good ability. Not getting the attack, fine. Got him on a point, awesome.
Well, additionally, too, if you do get the attack, which any situation in which he would have been able to do not so fast before, he can still deal an attack now. The any situation where they're coming from reserve, I should say. The starting your activation with a damage and a strain can be very problematic.
Yes.
Going to be, is this a melee attack? Yes, it is. I don't know his melee expertise as well. It's looking like 3 blocks, so that'll be 3 crits through, which will get him double shoves, which should let him get onto that point. Oh, he's already on that point. I guess he was able to advance further than I thought. Viewers, you'll have to forgive me. I was working with limited viewing angles at the time.
Yeah, yep, as you're only watching my stream. I'll go Chewie. He's going to be hard to get off that point. IG has gone, so he's not going to... He also had Shatterpoint for his first card in the deck, so IG's not coming back anytime soon.
Additionally, Mando is going to struggle a little bit to get to that outside point. He'd be the one who's most likely to just take it from Chewie. So that's probably going to remain Brandon's point for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, right.
What is this 5 that we're measuring?
He's pulling Mando.
Oh, a dash and if he's going to be able to, I don't know if he's going to be able to clan of 2 here though.
Because of 7 Scorch, yes.
Because of 7 Scorch.
Yes, in my super obnoxious Mando and Cassian squad, I have nothing that is not a scoundrel. Which means I can always...
Well, and it's such a broad swath of tags anyway that it's pretty easy to play around. I mean, with so many rebel primaries being scoundrels. So that was probably a move action.
No, he's looking
I'm
to
gonna
clan a
pop
2.
down there. Do we moderate these? Should I pop down there to remind them of?
Nah, we leave him to
Okay.
it.
Leave them to it. Okay.
Just tell him at the end.
Yeah, because I think Mando is. I think Mando's within 2 of one or the other. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I would say...
Yeah, he's definitely within 2 of the top one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the emphasis is on the players to maintain the board state. So,
well, and this also is this is a game between 2 people who are very talented at Shatterpoint. So the fact that this is the first and only, as far as I'm aware, rules discrepancy is pretty excellent.
yeah.
There's so much going on at Shatterpoint.
And also they will learn better from it, from making the mistake and then being told about it later instead of being corrected in the middle of it. 2 through. Three damage shove. Forgot his.
Apologies, I had a little bit of a network error. So that was what, 2 through, three damage and a shove.
I think Chewy forgot his extra expertise. I don't know if that
Mm.
changes things. Extra block. So 1 through.
1 through. Is he bringing me in cold? So just damage.
Which he heals anyway.
Can you
To the
check
knee.
both players' decks?
Uh,
Or sorry, not decks, but discard piles, please.
I can't. That I'm
Oh, you can't
aware of.
right-click search.
Nah, because I'm an observer, it doesn't let me interact with anything.
Okay.
I can't use tools. I can't. Yeah. Shatterpoint. So it is primaries challenging the odds. I'd be looking for.
Probably going to be Leia here. It'll be a 4-point swing, which is big. And then if she can get a wound somewhere, then that will be game. And 7 Scorcher not super healthy.
Yeah, she'd probably need to flip her stance for once to consider the wound. Make a focus action and attack. Get her sharpshooter 2.
And then just spend a force to hop back onto the point.
Hmm. Just doing the math on what he needs to do to win.
The other issue too that Nick is going to run into here is that his list is very bad at taking 2 points. So even if this does not wound here, it's pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to flip more than just the prio, but that's going to wound.
It's going to be 3 through.
Maybe not. That'll be 2 down.
Yes, Mando's has lovely expertise. Was that into IG? Well, IG was exposed, so it should have been 3 through.
Yep. And that'll be a bad case of the deads on IG.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it should be 3 or 4 damage, which should get him, right?
Does not appear so. Where he will score 4, gain the mission critical momentum.
Very close. See where that priority is.
Cad
has done nothing all game. Refreshed a little bit of force. Heals have meant nothing.
Cad cannot affect that, and he has to take the priority objective here to even stay in it.
So if he reserves, he's got no force left for the final card. So not great choices here to make.
I could be wrong, and hopefully this won't come back to haunt me. I have a feeling this turn is academic.
Yeah.
Because he actually, it doesn't matter. He has to reserve and go for Wingard, right? Because if he doesn't flip 2 points here, which is unlikely, but if he doesn't do it at all, then even if he takes the prio here, then with mission critical, then Brandon will be able to pull it back.
Yeah. What happened there?
I think Brandon was just looking to see what he had left,
Yeah.
or Nick was asking.
He could climb up to 7 Scorch. Still alive. Yeah, yeah.
He is going with Cad Bane.
Well, no one gets between him and his job. I'd like to see how about you step aside. I haven't seen that all game. Super good ability. Uh,
Going for the reserve. Which I think is necessary here. I think he has to try and flip 2 points with Wingard. Nope.
okay, I'm guessing this is a jump. Stay beneath. Yep. Now we can expose. No, he can't because
He's out of force.
Yeah. That is a range attack. He's focused by the looks of it. Going all in.
Tough hill to climb.
The suspense is killing me. What is it? Come on. Go and giddy up. What's happening here? Count it as it lies. It is 1, 2, 3 hits.
They're trying to do the same.
Should have just re-rolled it.
Looks like he'll get 3 crits through.
3 crits. What's that mean for Cad Bane? 5
enough.
damage. Yep, falls 2 damage short for the wound.
Probably not a permissive shove there. Maybe. It's a tough angle. But regardless, one shove isn't going to get him off. So he just follows up. That is game.
Alright, expect to hear from these guys in a second. Maybe just get them to come in here if they're done.
Yeah.
Yo.
Hey, how are ya?
Good.
Anyone want to start with their thoughts?
Yeah, I can go. I
Winner,
think,
you go first.
yeah, I can go first. PLC and Pathfinders is just a lot of fun. Like all the mobility to like get that side of the board early, and then that play to open up, or I guess it's the second play of that last struggle to take 2 points. Like, yeah, this just start to beat that PLC mobility. I think Order Deck was kind of against you a lot, like especially that first struggle, where like you were sending your guys kind of into my midpoint just to get killed, and then you couldn't really get anyone over to the midline point where I could kind of secure it, and that just I think made it harder for you to struggle one.
Yeah,
Lots of good
definitely.
dice too. Lots of good dice.
Yeah. Well, not only that, your positioning was good. I think looking back on it, one of the bigger mistakes that I made was just going full ham with like 7 Scorch up to the middle. Like I probably should have been a little bit more careful and kept them on a point so they had protection steadfast. But like
I think you had it,
what I
but like,
wanted to do. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess you didn't quite get them on this point. Yeah, because you needed to shove on, and it was just like barely off because Django was in the way.
Yeah, what I really wanted to do is just be super aggressive and then just kind of push up onto like your points. And yeah, like you said, there's not very much movement in this list. It's more of just designed to just go out and get wounds.
Yeah.
That's really fun when Django's just rolling like 10, 11 dice.
Oh my god.
That was awesome. So
Yeah, one-shotting Jin.
Would y'all like to know the odds on that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a 45% chance for him to one shot there.
All right.
Oh, really?
Basically a coin
Yes.
flip.
Although, are you counting the CAD bubble on that?
I was not. Was he in it?
Jin was just barely in the CAD bubble, yes, and she was strained, so I couldn't dash out of it either.
Okay. Which you would have, right? Like you would have dashed out of it to prevent the force regen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
7 Scorch was definitely an interesting drop. I think you really suffered from not having anyone with payday to enable Rule 17. Also, it created an issue here that you didn't pick up in that last turn where Mando moved onto the center point and did Planet 2. He wasn't actually able to do that because 7 Scorch were within range 2 and they are not a Mandalorian scoundrel or bounty hunter.
Yeah. Whoops. I even called that out earlier. I wasn't
did, yeah.
My bad, bro.
It's good.
Yeah, so just that extra attack from Rule 17 is huge. Your force economy wasn't great. Getting the wound into IG 88 early to put up the cost of those extra dice definitely hurt.
Well, additionally, with this list, you have to get so far ahead on attrition to make up for your lack of out of activation movement. And you lost struggle 1 down on attrition, which is maybe the worst possible scenario for you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep.
There was a point where I think Django got a wound, and you had the opportunity to challenge the odds to prevent the struggle queue from landing on 0 and struggle 1. What was your rationale on not doing that there?
We made a game time decision that you weren't able to do that before, or you had to pay for it before the force refresh. That's what we thought the rule was. So I'm not sure. We didn't really want. So we were on a time crunch, so we didn't want to look up the rule. But Because I even pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
can challenge odds, and so we're like, oh, that actually has to happen right away before you can
Yeah,
refresh it.
I think that's correct.
Okay,
Because
so
it's the same timing window as like Gen healing, which is
Yep.
before
yeah,
10.
so I don't know. I guess I kind of made a mistake there. I probably should have left one up, but that was kind of like my logic there. Is like, okay, I can go with Django, get a wound, and then challenge the odds, and then I realized, oh, I didn't have enough force there. But
I guess because you took the focus, right? So you probably could have forgone one dice and kept that. Maybe.
yeah, I think I paid for IG88 dice. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think did you pay to jump to clear and then paid for IG dice?
No, okay, so that was with Bodhi. I focused to clear the
Okay, you focused to jump to clear that.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
and then I
That's
paid
right.
for the IG dice. And the reason why I paid for the IG dice is because I was a little concerned from melee about getting that wound. I guess in hindsight, when you're a little bit behind there, you should probably, just try and conserve the force. But I also just like rolling a lot of so.
And also allowing you to, paradoxically, in a situation like that, the aggressive play is hoping that you get enough successes through without, so that you have the force, right? Like the aggressive play is rolling less dice there to try and get to catapult you further ahead rather than just like leave it back onto 0.
Yeah, good call out.
It may have also been worth a take cover backwards.
Yeah, the only issue with that is, well, I mean, I guess it would have been either way. There was like Bays and Churret up here. There was like a lot of people up there. So if I take cover, I think Churret just didn't even move the entire game. So if I take cover off the edge there, then I'm still engaged. It was definitely a tough call, but
Yeah, there was
wanted to say-
not a lot of good choices, and you made the best one you had with the situation you were presented.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you were just the lack of movement in comparison to the other list is a big gap. Even on the defensive expertise, you've got 3 potential units that can dash off their defensive expertise.
Yeah,
Lots of crazy
definitely.
movement.
I just wanted to try and shed a little bit more light on like bounty hunters. I think that IG88 is best with Django. So it's like my goal was to try and build a list with like Mando and Django because I think IG is the best with those two specifically because you can really spike on certain points down their tree.
Absolutely.
So
Well, if
and
you,
then
I think. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was just gonna say, and then I don't have too many games with CAD, but I was thinking like, okay, the force refresh can kind of help with the economy, but yeah, like you were pointing out at the beginning there, Jim, I tried to aggressively move up, and my IG got wounded on pretty quickly, so it kind of hurt that a little bit. I think I don't know, maybe taking like the side point or something might have been a little bit wiser, but
Yeah, I think
Yeah, because
the mission pack hurt you being such a widespread and having such little movement. It was hard for you to get to where you needed to be.
which you won the roll to go first, right?
yeah, I chose Nevertell because I wanted to try and take advantage of having high kill units and then moving the point, and it didn't really work out in this scenario.
Yeah, playing Nevertell against a list that has more force than you is never great in my opinion because they can normally afford to spend to challenge the odds, and a lot of the time you can't. So you're putting yourself at a disadvantage a lot of the time, I think.
Well, I think probably a lot more pressing is the fact that the Pathfinders here are just so good on odds.
Yes, that too. They put in a bit of work. Do really like that unit.
I did not want to play my other list on odds, which is why one reason I did this one.
That's fair.
I just really want to try out this list.
An extra bounty hunter would have been great just to help your force economy, give IG someone else to give dice to. Yeah, him getting wounded early is never great in a bounty hunter list for sure.
Well, and we spoke on this a little bit earlier, but with Mando, if you're in Bring You In Cold, I think the numbers work out where roughly every other attack you should be hitting the 4 expertise for the 5 damage. So assuming you have a natural crit in there and you're hitting 5 damage, that's 7 damage every other attack, much less like what your other attack is getting through. And then if you hit a clan of 2, he's probably going to get at least 1 through there. So like his ability to wound a 9 health character is just through the roof with IG dice.
Yeah, and with the cat bubble too, if you get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I love
unfortunately,
IG with Mando.
if you had been able to get CAD up the board a little bit earlier to his no one gets between me and my job bubble to make more of a difference, that would have been great. It is very CAD's a very hard piece to use, and the mission pack wasn't great for him either. I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I think back to Nick's prior point though, a lot of this kind of you went for the really aggressive play with 7 Scorch and they just weren't able to secure that wound. And like sometimes that like 1 extra force can be a pretty huge break point on like your ability to jump CAD forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then one other thing, just to point out, we decided to do a premiere list showdown. And this list right here that I ran, the first improvement that I would make if I was just going to play again is I would rotate out the wing guard for Lando and Bar2, but I couldn't take them because I had C3PO and R2 in my other half of my list.
Okay.
I was thinking about putting Luke in that spot, but I've been really enjoying C3PO, so I wanted to keep him in there, but then I was like, oh yeah, I can't have both R2 units in the same Premier squad, so having those guys who can't be shot, and then they just move around the map, might be able to help me out a little bit on a further moving map, but like you pointed out before, there's not much team movement here, so... And then also, like, is there... in Django's era, I don't think there is another 5 cost support. So I guess I could have just like
Just Aquas.
Oh, Aquas. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
But like
Aquas
that's not necessarily worthwhile, I don't think.
Nah, yeah,
Yeah.
7 Scorch are better. But yeah, having Payday in there to at least get a little bit of Rule 17 action would have been awesome. Would have definitely helped your attrition rate.
Yeah.
Love to see Dengar in a list with Mando. Works quite well together. Being able to reserve your bounty hunters for free helps your force economy. But then you would have had to drop Django. Django did a lot of work. His diceless displacement is great.
That was my issue. I was like, I don't want to drop Django, don't want to drop Mando, don't want to drop IG, and so
yeah, it
I was
doesn't leave you a lot of
struggling with
options.
it.
You got to take
Yeah.
a 3-point and a 5-point that you don't have great options to choose from.
Give us another bounty hunter box AMG.
Yes.
I would have liked to have seen IG with CAD, and then maybe bounty hunter support, and then yeah, ultimately you'd have to drop Django, Dengar with Mando, and then that.
Well, I think ultimately you have to choose between do you want to have you only get 2 out of the 3 of Mando, Django, and out of activation movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's just
No,
nothing really in Django's era that really gives you a lot of I guess Lumi. Lumi could be a cute pull here.
Yeah.
Previously, my first iteration of this, like a long time ago, before the rebalances and everything, I was doing Mando, IG, Lando Bar2, and then Mother Talzin, Django, Night Sisters. And that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I nearly always like to see the Super Commandos in the place of the Night Sisters. They can actually take a punch, they can give a punch. Night Sisters fold up so easy, and you tend to get very little from their expose. Where the Super Commandos, you have that option to try to strain a target, then use Manipulating Hand to dash them outside of engagement of the Super Commandos, doing an extra 5 damage. It's a super good move.
Yeah, that's smart, actually.
But yeah, it was a good game. It just, you got outclassed by the movement, unfortunately. If you had have been able to get your dice to show up a little bit more and get some more wounds on the board, would have been
Yeah, there was
great.
there was that one, I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe Django. He's like, oh, I'm gonna make a 5 dice attack with base and turret. Oh, I'm gonna get 4 hits and a crit, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like walk one. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
lots-
because like that
Yeah.
that was a huge break point because of the expose. Django, his expertise does so much of his heavy lifting on survivability.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I also didn't I didn't really have too much crit mitigation in this list.
Mhm.
Definitely a problem for IG88, like, because I think I was rolling like a ton of blocks, but then he was just getting a lot of crits down the tree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just about everybody in this list throws a ton of crits except for the Pathfinders and Bodhi.
yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Now I'm remembering. It was that first turn with 7 Scorch. I was like, I am gonna go for the wound on Bodhi, and I got 0
Loved
down
it
my
twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was even prepared to pay for the ability to, try and get 2 extra damage on them, or whatever, or some extra damage from the more
But you
explosives. I
needed
was like,
you needed like 4 or something. You needed
But
like
yeah,
three expertise.
after the first roll where just nothing went down the tree, I'm like, oh, okay, that's not going to be an option. But really liked your list.
Thanks.
I don't have very many games on Jin, but when I have seen her on the table, she just seems really good. She's so versatile. It's really cool.
Yeah, she puts out damage, and her heal didn't do much because you just like one shot pretty much everything you could. But like when you do get those heals up, it's just like it's so money.
Yep.
I made the point earlier, whether she's doing a 5 dice attack or her standard attack, she very consistently hits 3 crits. Which is very
On both
good.
sides, or is there a certain side
On both
that you
sides.
should be on?
She is more likely. Her stances are kind of paradoxic. So one of them kind of looks like the melee stance, and one kind of looks like the range stance. And that's true if you're making the big attack. But when you're making your 5 dicers, it's actually flipped because the expertise is better suited to 5 dicers on the opposite side. So like aggravated assault, she makes very good 5 dice range attacks, and then on resisting arrest, she makes very good 5 dice melee attacks.
Interesting.
Because she has one expertise is a crit and a hit to a crit.
Yeah.
And on aggravated assault, that works out of 3 damage and an expose, which is truly, truly good. It's a great way to start your primary turn.
If we were going to give awards for the most valuable unit and the least valuable unit, who do you think they would go to?
For each team or the entire game in general?
I'm open to either.
Well, I would say the least valuable unit was going to be the wing guards, because I kind of messed up my deployment and didn't even have them contesting my point here, and then
Unlucky.
they just got blown off the table. I thought maybe the steadfast would be relevant, but they're not rolling enough dice in range. They're not getting enough blocks when you do roll. I thought it would be interesting to have them in there, for maybe the reserve mechanic, and it came up like once, but they're just, like I said, I was already I was gonna use Lando Bartu, but I already had R2 in the other side of the list, so I think that's an improvement right there. Having 2 units that can't be shot, and then a lot of movement. I think that just would have been better for my squad.
To your point on that, kind of talking about that struggle one, that point, the Brandon, putting the Pathfinder up on the top of that comms tower was a very very superb play.
Yeah, because I'm like, yep, they keep their hunker, they keep Mando locked on it, and they're ready to like move when they need to.
Elevation with hunker.
Yeah.
All right, and then what was your most impactful, Nick? Sorry, Brandon, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm curious what he says. I know what I think his most impactful thing was.
So for the game or for my team? That's what I don't understand.
Your team. Your team.
Oh, for my team, well, I would have to probably say Django, but with a caveat that getting those extra dice from IG88 kind of really make him sing. But he's just all over the map. He's yanking people off points. He's one-shotting stuff. I would say that's probably my most impactful unit.
Yeah, he's definitely like lighting up my side of the board.
And what about on the other team?
I gotta go for PLC. Just like all that extra movement to get the Pathfinders onto points. Like, yeah, that just really secured everything for me.
Yeah, Leia's movement is unrivaled. What she brings is great. And with the Pathfinders, being able to turn that tactic double dash into double advance is huge.
Yep.
And your least performing unit?
I don't feel like Bodhi did much for me this game, really. He missed his roll for the extra momentum. I don't think the
Which would have
steadfast-
mattered, by the way. You would have won the
Yeah.
struggle turn earlier.
Yeah. I don't know if the steadfast came up that often. I don't know if you were like consciously not shooting people because of that steadfast bubble, but it seems like you're either like going 2 down to get me off, or you're just killing me outright.
I would say it was kind of impactful because I had to change up like a couple of my trees to try and get like those extra shoves, or if I knew I wasn't gonna shove them off. But yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
Chewie was in the running, but he just dashed onto this back point, that last activation, and just like locked it down to kind of secure the win for me.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot, but he did enough.
Yeah. And he went pretty late too, so like I didn't have opportunity to really get his bubble onto anyone.
This is a list that might also benefit from Sabine.
It might.
Yeah.
I love Chewbacca though.
Yeah.
Not because he's better, because he's Chewy.
Yeah. It was good to see Base Insurate not being super repressive without Cassian dice.
I know, right?
They still
They
they one-shot
what they
7
needed to do.
Scorch.
Yeah, they still do work.
I'm gonna go ahead and get 3 down my tree and apply expose on a
Yep.
2 shooting unit. They're really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't
I
sure
would
if I should
also-
take
I would
the 7
also
Scorch or
say-
Django out.
I would say it again.
I wasn't sure if I should go for Django or Sev with their shot. I think probably Sev's the right call, but man, your Django did so much work. It would have been good to get him wounded too.
Yeah.
I thought when he got sent forward early, that was very ambitious. It didn't backfire really. But yeah, sending him so far forward so early, I thought he was kind of asking to get wounded, but yeah, it didn't quite work out that way. He was able to hang
Quai is a certified Beskar skeptic.
I mean, I drew him first in a 5-force list. I didn't have Dengar on the other side, so I couldn't reserve him. I was like, all right, I'll just try and get him up in the middle and force him into like this area, and then surely one of the next cards I can kind of like take this point, and it just kind of worked out where I'm like, all right, I'll move IG88 up the board and try and take that back. In hindsight,
IG88 took all that fire as soon as he got up.
Yeah, that's true. But Django, it ended up working out for you because sending Django that far forward, he was always not that far from the action, so he was He's a good target to pull and do his diceless displacement or roll a lot of dice. And yeah, he was
Yeah.
definitely
And
your
that
MVP.
that not so fast play too. That was a great one.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I was
Struggle
holding
for
that in my back pocket. I would
Cool.
also say one other thing about your list is maybe in my eyes another MVP for you was Jin, just because she was just slicing through all of my defense, and yeah, she went down like a bag of bricks, but you know she was theoretically able to. I think she wounded 2 things on her turns because of like her additional attacks, and
Yeah,
she was just all over
Yeah,
the board. I thought you played her well.
yeah. She double tapped. I think she double tapped Django, and did she get IG as well? Yeah, but she was ripping through.
Yeah, she's a very
Yeah.
aggressive piece when you want it to be. I'm a big fan of her using her tactic on herself. Those 2 attacks, yeah, she can do work. But even when she gave her attack away to Chirrut, that also did work too. So yeah,
Oh, yep.
Jin was very good. We didn't notice any momentum spending, but you didn't seem to run out of force for that to come up anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't spending. Yeah, I didn't go with any wounded units. I guess Jin once. Yeah, Chewie doesn't really spend force.
Jin doesn't really spend too much force until she's wounded, so
Yeah, unless she's in like a big scrum.
Well, and then she's spending force in a very disadvantageous way in relation to her identity, right? Because she's spending a lot of force on her turn, but it's like 1 and 2 at a time.
Yep.
She kind of has a little bit of the covert Mandalorian problem, where once she catches a wound, her free turns get very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you can position her up the board where her heals matter, and then she's also within range to activate and use her tactic without having to move, not bad still.
Yeah, yeah. You coming to my side just made Jin like. She's like, okay, let's go. Game time.
Cool. If there's anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
It's a good game. It's a cool list. I want to see this again with R2.
Yeah, I would also like to have seen the ISB. I think Spitfire mentioned the same thing instead of the Wingguard. ISBs just have better active turns. They have access to impact without having to spend for it, unlike the Wingguard. Don't have the steadfast, but they do have better expertise.
They don't have the Mando tags either, right?
Yeah, that does matter.
True. That is a good point. Yes. Yeah, so definitely one to watch, that Clan of 2 and those tags.
yeah. For what it's worth, I did point that at the beginning. That's just on me. My bad, dude.
Oh,
I think I
caught me.
could have, because I used a movement action anyways. I could have dashed right here and then I don't know, tried clan 2 or
Gone to the
something.
other side or something.
Something like that, yeah. But
Yeah. You caught my Bodhi misplays, so I'll call that even.
oh, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, great game, great opponent. Thanks for having me on. That was super fun.
Yeah, no
Yeah, and
worries.
we'll see you next week at LugCon.
Oh yeah,
Right?
definitely gotta buy my ticket and
Yep.
get a rematch going.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, you owe me a rematch as well, so
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I just need to wake my ass up at 6 a.m. my time, and we can catch a morning game.
maybe so. Oh. All right. Well, I think this was really excellent. A really good game.
Yeah, super glad
Yeah,
to
me-
have everyone on. Looking forward to having you on again in the future. Looking at trying to, I want to get some intra-club games, so to speak. So initially, I'll be doing a series of exhibition games with different communities, and then eventually trying to get games between communities happening. even if they are just exhibition, or if we can have like a little podcast cup or something like that. We've been trying to work on, but it's just a bit hard because it's a global game and all these communities at different sides of the planet. It's hard to get people to line up. So expect some different stuff to happen in the future. But yes, thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you.
having us, and looking forward to the rest of things.
Awesome.
Yeah, same here. Thanks again.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks, Squire.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you and good night.